brother Jeremiah Shabazz. I'm with my brother Sam. We'll be talking about this birth of a nation. This brother, he's really risking his life, to be honest with you. The brother is risking his life. It's beautiful, just on the basis of him receiving funding from other actors. Because sometimes, you can have death threats. Like you can receive death threats from major people in Hollywood by simply some of us have this false ideology about Christianity and religion, but the truth is, it was used as a um, mechanism of oppression, and he put that out there. He put it out there. You know, um, Although I feel as though the movie was kind of watered down, he still put it out there, and he's still risking his life. I like the cinematography. I love the symbology. When he was in the forest, he had the white paint on him. I don't really know what that meant. You have a clue what he could have meant by that? When he was in the forest, it was kind of blue. It had the blue tint to it.
I think the forest was like, as we say, like the wilderness, the hells of North America. So that's what I got from it. He was going through the wilderness in North America, but he was pure. No matter where you at, no matter the danger and different things like that. So that's what I got from it.
Right.
Which is somewhat biblical too. So it's a lot of biblical overtones in it, I think.
Right. And he was a very religious person, very religious. Some people, due to the conscious movement, use that as a tool to deviate from Nat Turner and his mission. But the point is, this brother received information or enlightenment from the Almighty, and the Almighty convinced him to free his people. See, it wasn't just himself, because he was so oppressed to the point where he couldn't see anything beyond the flesh. But for something was out there that convinced him to do what he did. There were many uprisings in the United States, but the name Nat Turner brings fear and trauma into the minds of white people. When they think of Nat Turner, they think of, oh shit, I better treat these Negroes properly before that spirit awakens within them. You see? That's one of the primary reasons why they're trying to suppress the movement right now. They don't want that warrior spirit to come out of us. That's one of the reasons why they appreciated people that practiced a passive ideology.
And that was a key thing, I think, in the movie. The Nat Turner was preaching, and his master was getting the money, and they even said it. They blatantly said, calm down the people.
Right.
So I think that's what I take away from the movie more so than anything, was that the churches, even the white people, they understand that creating a passive Negro, creating a docile, look down while you walk across the street and the sidewalk. So I think more so than the revolution, I think that was the main thing, the indoctrination. Because you got to get past the indoctrination to get to the revolution inside. And I think from me being an introspective person, I think the film was about the revolution has to take place inside. Then you'll do your own revolution. So the revolution has to take place inside. And I think when he obviously had a good heart. There were things that happened he didn't like, he didn't agree with, and injustices happening to other people getting hung and killed, and him getting beat for helping a little white kid and different things like that. So I think that was very important, because they could have easily portrayed him as some monster, some illogical
savage.
Monster. Yeah, but they showed that he has that compassion.
Right. And he definitely had a conflict with his morals. Just to go off what you were just saying, he definitely fought with his own morals. I believe that it's possible that he didn't think that he survived. I think it's possible that he didn't think that they would make it past Jerusalem, Virginia. I mean, like, what's the chances? He had 50 people. He was pretty smart, you know. He was pretty smart. He had about 50 people. About 30 of them died. Then he was the only one standing, you know. So he really took the time and the effort to sacrifice his morals. So he had to kind of buckle, you know. That has to be traumatizing for a man to see his grandmother taken out. I can't even say natural causes because slavery isn't, you know, that stress on her body wasn't a natural cause. So to have his grandmother and then his wife deceased in such a, or his wife beaten and his grandmother deceased in a traumatic manner, it had to do something to him. It had to create intense level of aggression.
So what are some similarities do you think are between Nat Turner and Micaiah Johnson and different? I guess you would say people that just
Martyrs.
got tired of it. Yeah.
Um,
You see any similarities?
I see similarities, primarily being fed up, being oppressed. For a person to go out and do something as heinous as killing people, you know, children, women, you know, like you have to have some type of anger inside of you. Like you have to be unheard. And eventually it'll boil up and it'll overturn, you know.
Okay, so what didn't you like about the movie?
What didn't I like about it? I would just say that the rebellion could have been longer. I feel as though the rebellion could have been longer. Um,
They said 48 hours at the end of the movie. I thought it was
yeah,
like a month or something,
no,
or a
it was
couple
only
weeks.
it was only 2 or 3 days.
Okay.
It was only 2 or 3 days. So I just feel as though they could have put more emphasis on the uprising. You know, they could have put more emphasis on the uprising. They could have showed us a little bit more. You know, but I think with all of the hysteria that's going on in society, they wanted to limit that, you know, because they don't want to initiate that Nat Turner spirit within us.
Rating on the film.
My rating is a.
And why did you decide to give
My
us a
brother
rating?
asked me earlier today. I gave it a 3 out of 5, so I guess that would be like a 8 out of 10, 7 out of 10, something like that. Or
It's like a C plus.
C plus. I would give it a C plus because again, you know, with Nat Turner, you have to come to a realization that this brother was brutal when it came to his insurrection. You know, they didn't put enough emphasis on the insurrection itself. The insurrection is the focal point of who he is. Like, we know that slaves were taught to be submissive to their masters. We know that coon preachers, you know, pacify the people to neutralize the mentality or to force them into, you know, run with passiveness or whatnot. But I just feel as though it could have been a little bit more brutal. I don't say that to take away from the overall message, though. I'm not saying that to take away.
That's what you wanted. You wanted to.
Right. Personally, I would have wanted him to, you know, kick a little bit more ass so the people watching can see, okay, this is who Nat Turner is. This is the essence of what we know Nat Turner to be. Not a watered down cinematic version, but sometimes those seeds have to be sown in the mainstream media in order for, you know, the people to dig a little deeper, you know. Even with the new level of thinking right now, just certain things that are on TV and that are, you know, the memes and the little videos, that one picture or that one video could register a thought in your mind that will convince you to go out and get something, learn something from it. And also, it'll be it's an upside for those who may still be in religion or may still be in Christianity, because we believe that, you know, Jesus was a white man, you know, that we should, you know, give all of our money to the preacher and not do for ourselves. Nat Turner, however, showed you that, okay, you could believe in Jesus or whatnot, but you should still seek redemption and independence for yourself, despite the religious aspect of it all.
Now, also, after this, we're gonna get on the church, but we're gonna segue into that.
Okay.
The last scene, if like the symbology of the church, the last scene, or the symbology of Christianity, the noose represents the cross,
Right.
the crucifix,
Right.
and that last scene, he was, so to speak, nailed to the cross.
Crucified.
He was crucified.
Right. Right.
And Judas was there, the person that snitched on him was front row.
Yes. That just came to my mind when you said that. It just came to me.
Yeah. So what do you think about that?
I think that's beautiful. You know, Jesus was a
Is
freedom fighter in
do
essence.
you think the symbology, not to cut you up?
No, it's okay.
The symbology was that he should be looked at as a savior. He should be someone to somewhat follow.
Yes. And it's a matter of perception, you know, because the white people that were there will not look at him, or the Jews that witnessed Jesus' death don't see him as a saint. But depending on your perception, you may see him as a saint. I believe that Jesus was a freedom fighter in essence, and so was Nat Turner.
Were you ever in church? Because I was in church. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So if we could, let's say, time travel to when we were in the church and we seen this movie, how do you think you would?
If I was in church, I would have. It depends, because when I was really into church, I mean, I grew up in church, like down south. My mother is a quote unquote evangelist down south in a Baptist / Pentecostal church. So depending on my level of thinking at that time, I mean, I may have just viewed him as I view Malcolm X, a person that stands for freedom and dignity of black people. I just believe that there's a Messiah figure in every major religion, every major civilization. I believe Nat Turner is that Messiah, that black Messiah. As a matter of fact, I believe he should be canonized into a saint, you know, since he was involved with the religion, you know. He should be canonized. You know, Saint Turner, you know, Saint Nat Turner of Virginia. You know what I'm saying?
So, do you think this will have an effect on people, on the church,
no,
community?
No.
You don't?
No, I don't. I think most people will, again, look at him as like basic, you know, Malcolm X, you know. Even though, I mean, I love Brother Malcolm, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not belittling him, but
too militant?
I believe that when people are clouded with doctrine or ideology, they don't get the picture. They don't get the message, the full spectrum of the message. They'll see him as a person in history that meant well for black people. Some will see him as a demon, as somebody that went against God, because they have scriptures to counterattack each scripture. So for the scriptures that he used to validate his actions, there are scriptures to invalidate his actions.
Thou shalt not kill.
Basic 10 commandments.
Thou shalt get killed by the master. I don't know where it says that, but
right. But it says it somewhere in, you know, some essence of the statement. Kind of like Mekhi Johnson from Texas. You know, why did he do what he did? Because he felt unheard. He felt as though he had to do something drastic to be heard. He didn't have his freedom, so he did something drastic. Freedom is basic. That's a basic thing that all people should have. All living creatures should have. But because he didn't have it, because that's it.
So is the only way people, this is a common thing people say, the only way for a revolution is bloodshed. Is that really the only way in this day and age? Is that really the
as
only
far
way?
as land goes, yes. as far as land and sustainability as a nation, yes, you have to experience some level of bloodshed and chaos to achieve peace. In order to achieve peace, you must first go through chaos. It's just like when a woman has a child. She has to carry the child for 9 months, go through the hell, the contractions. But when that baby comes into the world, she doesn't experience that same pain. If she does feel, if she does experience that same pain, it's only because she's trying to maintain the child's life. She's trying to teach the child. So sometimes it can be painful teaching and sustaining what you have. So what I'm saying is, in order for the people to achieve happiness, they must first go through hell. Going through hell may involve bloodshed if you're talking about a revolution that requires land and resources. Because people don't just give away resources, especially white people. They don't just give up their resources. I mean, I wouldn't say they fought for what they achieved, but I mean, they took it. You know, I'm not a fan of Charles Darwin, but survival of the fittest is that's nature.
That's their mentality.
That's their mentality. The strongest will survive. So sometimes you have to look at war and you have to look at revolution from the eyes of the person that's opposing you, your opposition. We keep asking the same people that are harming us to have sympathy for us. They don't have sympathy. They don't care.
Just like in the movie.
Nat Turner didn't want to do that. He didn't want to do that. In my opinion, he didn't want to do that because he had too much love of God and of the people, although they treated him wrong, just like we do. We have love for those that have harmed us, but we are uprising as a people now because we feel as though we're not being heard. Same as Nat Turner.
Okay, so what are your last words?
My last
words. What do you want to leave the people?
Go see the movie. Look up the historical Nat Turner, but also realize that at the end of the day, Nate Parker knows the truth, and he knows that in order to achieve freedom as a people, in order to achieve peace as a people, you must first go through hell and make sacrifices.